Um, Happy Tuesday. All right. I think you can hear me. Let's make sure because I turn off all my alerts when you're here. So let's double check. I've been known to do it. I cannot be here. You can't hear me. I've been known to do it. All right, good. I cannot be here. You can't hear me. It works. Cool. Well, thank you for being here for our last Death Doula series. It is coming to the end of March, and it is Women's History Month. There's a lot going on. It's the holiday season. Well, we have Easter, we have Ramadan, and we have a lot going on. But I appreciate you being here. What I wanted to do was, first, I wanted to remind you that I have up just through the end of this month, then I'm taking it down, where I created the free micro legacy workbook for you while we were doing the series. So please feel free to download that. Like I said, it's only going to be there till the end of this month. If you wanted a little more detail on as you go through that workbook as storytelling, legacy, planning, if you wanted a little more detail in that, I also created, you can buy that off my website. It's like $19. It's nothing. But it helps just give you a little more structure as you go through your legacy planning. And I'm just hoping that you really enjoyed the series, whether you got to be here for part of it, all of it. I really appreciate you being here. So in our last series, we talked a little bit about celebrating the end of life. So I wanted to continue that. Put the icing on top of everything that we talked about. I have my notes. Yes, I do look down at my notes sometimes. So much in my head and so much that we've covered in this course, the Chronicles here of the Death Doula. And what we're really doing here is just trying to create meaningful connections between those that are not going to be with us very much longer. We either know that for a long period of time, or sometimes it's quite sudden. And I just want to stress that whenever you leave someone, whether you know they are at end of life or not, it's very important. If you remember one thing throughout this whole series, it's to remember to make your leave with someone always on a good note. So if you're spending time with someone, a loved one, family, your mother, father, friends, children, your neighbor, just be sure that the end of your time together, you just always let people know that you appreciate them and that they have meaning to your life, but just telling them how you feel in some way. It doesn't have to be a long explanation or a book, but just say, I love you, or I appreciate you. Thank you for being who you are. It really goes very far when it comes to end of life. So, like I said, we don't always know how or when is going to be the last time we see someone. And to avoid regrets and have a little easier time when it comes to grief, don't let something like, I forgot to say I love you, to sit on your heart, because we're not always there when someone dies. So make sure you say that and have peace with that. So, module 8, we're going to take a look at some end of life rituals and ceremonies of leaving. Yes, thank you, Terry. The time to show you care is when someone's alive. Exactly, exactly. So we wanna let people know that they are important to us and they have an impact on us. I mean, I think everyone would like to feel that they contributed um, to the lives of others. So we wanna first of all, we wanna make sure we are a companion to people that are near the end of life, or I mean, older. You wanna make sure that you are, there with them. You're not trying to treat them. You're accepting and you're witnessing for, those that are at end of life. So, it's not time to come in there and say, "Oh, well, you should have done this or you could have done that," or for yourself not to accept someone because you want them to live their life differently. That's not what this is about, end of life. You want to be a companion. You want to listen. You don't want to judge. There's no judging. Um, when we don't make changes in our life or we have things we regret, well, that's for us to live with. It's not for someone else to judge. Um, and that makes for a more peaceful and less um, conflicted ending, because we know when a loved one is about to die, um, we really just want peace. We don't need judgment, and it's not going to help us, those of us that are left to move on in life and show others how to get through life. So it doesn't help anyone. So we want to companion people. We want to witness them, and not treat or fix anyone. That's not what we're looking for. This is mutual respect and presence that we're offering. Another thing we talk about in Module 8 is ego integrity versus despair. All right, Eric Erickson, he is a like psychotherapist, and he talks about the final development stage as adults. I thought this is pretty cool. Like I said, I wasn't always a good student, but I'm going to try and attempt to share this idea. We always hear about ego. And let me see if I can share this screen with you. Share screen. Is it going to show me? Entire screen. No, it's not going to show. It's not going to show what I want. But anyway, I have the link, and I will put the link over here. So he talks about, there we go. Got to do the guy justice here. So Eric talks about how after 65 years old is a time, I'm not going to go through all the stages, but where we look at our ego integrity, because if we don't, we live with a lot of despair. So you can see the different stages of psychosocial development. But after 65, you really start to look at the end of life and what you just do a lot of reflecting and looking at, do I feel like I had a successful life? And I think at different ages, sometimes a little earlier than others. Like I'm probably, a little earlier than some of the people my age look at the end of life. But I'm 50, so I'm a grandmother. So for other people 10 years older, they're in their grandparenting. And so it's a good thing when we take a look at what's the meaning of our life. What have we been doing? I've shared in the past that reading your resume at as part of your eulogy is not going to help anyone. So make the most of it. And what else? So that's ego versus despair. If you don't take the time to think about it, this important stage in your life. And people that are dying, obviously they come up to this, it comes up upon them very quickly to start to look and reflect at their life and what they've done and what meaning it's had for themselves and for others. So, yeah. The other thing we looked at in Module 8 was structured rituals and their importance. Now, we know that not everyone is part of a lot of ceremony these days. We have weddings, yes, and even those have really made a switch from just the big princess wedding to much more practical and inclusive just weddings where people are just more involved and people want that personal touch. They enjoy it. It's not all about getting dressed up and the pressure of what you bring for a gift or whatever. There's a lot more people where they're having simpler weddings and they just want the presence of the community and they want the support. And that's what ceremony is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about witnessing. So the rituals will take on a much deeper part of your time together. So when we look at end of life, there's lots of different ways that not only we look at legacy projects, but we look at burials. So it doesn't have to be, if you plan, it doesn't have to be this rush to the funeral home and bang whatever they have there, the casket that they have. You can have the marble one, you can have the fancy walnut one. I mean, and then you're just like overwhelmed and you're just like, okay, and here's $10,000. And who's paying for that until, things get paid out? Well, that's something you need to plan for because most people don't have that money allotted. They say the most expensive thing you buy is like the house, second is a car, and the third is your funeral. And it doesn't have to be that way. If you plan before, see where you want things to be. And do you want it green? A green burial service, which is something that people are very curious about, is some people want a minimally environmentally impacting process. So you want something that doesn't use embalming fluids that goes in the veins. And also when you have a green burial, it is not only do you not want toxic chemicals, but you want the whole ecosystem to benefit from you being placed outside. So that means anything and anything. It was funny, this last weekend, I was with a friend who invited myself and my granddaughters out to play outside. And this is an outdoorsman, so he had his children there. And so my granddaughters were fishing, and they went over to look at the area where there was a coyote that had been attacking and killing turkeys, like baby turkeys, baby deer. So this gentleman set something up and they caught the coyote to keep everyone safe. Now there's children running around too. So there's a big reason why you need to keep it safe in this respect. But my grandchildren were there and they were just like, okay, I see hoofs here. I see something that looks like a dog, a coyote. And so I explained to them that this all goes back to nature. So all the other animals here in the woods, they all were able to have subsistence from this offering here. And no different than our bodies. We don't want to put poisonous things in our bodies that don't allow us to go back and be part of the earth. We always say ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But just allow everything around us to be able to have substance and be able to uh, be able to prosper, right? We take a lot from nature, and it's nice for us in the end to be able to offer ourselves back to nature. Another thing a green burial will not have is you will not be covered by a concrete vault. So again, it's so nature can, the worms and everything else can, use you to the best ability that it can, and then give back to the earth. So that's the whole idea. And I've seen online, there's some, if you look up green burial, um, I've seen some really beautiful caskets. They're like twigs. It's like a basket, it's a twig. So it's pretty cool to see all the different ways that um, that your body can be helped in breaking down and just giving back to life around us, whether it's in the water, in the ocean, it could be. There's so many ways that that you can be buried green. You just have to plan for it, okay? And gatherings, they can be, you can have someone, there's a couple different ways. You can have someone who is an officiant. It's like a wedding. You can have someone who's an officiant. So that's a religious member of the community. Or you can have a celebrant, which is someone who's non-clergy associated. So just like wedding, and they can help you celebrate a person's life. And that, again, that's where planning comes in. You can organize, like I said, a couple modules back, that you can organize and let people know what rituals you want things to be before you're in your final hours. You can take a look at your life and the people that you love, know where there's opportunity to bring them together. And it's good for you to look at that ahead of time, because when the moments get shorter and shorter, personalities and frustrations, they actually can grow and be much more in the forefront. So if there was a family member that really irritated you and you couldn't stand them, well, guess what? It'll be even more contentious as you get closer. So if you take a look and plan things ahead, then you can try to avoid those things, and actually bring it to what's really important. Not the little irritating things that person has done, but kind of zoom out and take a look at the bigger picture, because that's what you're leaving behind. All right. You don't want people quarreling over the stupid stuff. So if you can look ahead, because you have an illness that you have a longer time to deal with the life adjustment to that, and you realize this is approximately the end, then you can help everyone around you by looking at what it is that you would like to be included or not included, and the rituals. The vigil, I mean, you can plan all that out to include people, how they're comfortable, how you're comfortable, and work that into this. Again, we don't want, not only you yourself, if you're expiring, but for someone else, you don't want to leave a lot of the despair by not looking at planning and reflecting on your life and what people around you have meant. There's a lot of financial, that's why I say, with all this planning, there's a lot of financial aspects that you can take a look at. So no one else is going to be stuck with a bill or what it is you would want things to have. Do you want a funeral that's just something outdoors with everyone present? And you can organize different tasks or things that people would love to do or share with others. You can just give people that voice, and then you can allow others to witness what's on your heart as well. So be present, and you can save a lot of money, alleviate a lot of financial stress by just being prepared. There's also the health and well being of others, because then we understand the mental health. We're taking consideration mental health of those we leave behind. And many times when people are left out of the picture and aren't allowed to witness and be part of it, they live for years with like emotional scars because they weren't present. They weren't allowed to be part of those final moments. And it's very important. I don't care what age, it's very important for people that will be left behind to be engaged in those final moments. So then after, the bereavement time is much less significant. I mean, you're still going to have grief, there's no doubt, but you can help the ones you leave behind by planning and involving them and how you want things to be. And again, that leaves everyone with just better relationships. Just listening to each other, listening to their fears, their dreams, the things that they feel that they're going to lose not have any longer. It's important that everyone listens to these aspects, because what you leave behind, you really want it to be your compassion and love for them to fare well and to do well. So that's the real legacy. It's not about the money, because either they're gonna blow it. I'm sorry. Either they're just gonna blow it on a bigger house or a new kitchen or vacation. Like, but what you can do is you can't tell people what to do. We're talking legacy, but what you can do is you can make an offering for them to witness who you are, because that they can't blow. No one can blow that. So find that strength within yourself to offer others the gift of being a witness. And let me see what else did we major thing. I know I talked about the cremation. You know what? This is something people always say. I just want to be cremated and tossed or whatever. So I thought this was interesting. I just wanted to mention one more thing here on the services. Is you can have actually a traditional service where people would have, in the casket and then cremated. So you can, but which is kind of crazy, I guess. Someone can actually have, they can be embalmed, so you can put all those chemicals in you and rent a casket and then be cremated. I was like, oh, really? People do that? So, but you don't have to deal with embalming. That's only if you want an open casket. So, but I thought that was interesting because, I guess, if that's something you want to do, but I'd always thought you had to do one or the other, but no, you can go do a combination if that floats your boat. Cremation and oh, I thought this is pretty cool. All right, we know that we have urns, right, for cremation. So I guess bronze is pretty popular. Oh, they have bio trees. I thought that was pretty cool. So you can take the ashes and put it with the seed for a tree, and yeah, make an apple tree, right? And everyone can enjoy the apples after. I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't know. Here's the gimmicky one: diamonds. I guess they can turn some of your ashes into some sort of diamond. They have, you can be scattered at sea, and I know there's something brand new within like the last year or two. I'm sure you can Google it up, where you can um, have your ashes uh, in the ocean, and then there's some kind of tracker, so you can see where your loved one's traveling. Right? There's a Titanic story for you. And then you could also have them take those ashes and made into like stones. So that is pretty cool. You could put that in your garden. That would be nice. And any kind of celebration that you want. So the ideas are limitless. It's like a wedding. You can do anything, any which way you want. The point here is that you want it to be reflective of your individuality. And I think that's really cool. But if you don't plan, you're just gonna get a cookie cutter. They're gonna put you in the same old spot, same old looks, everything, even on the stone, like everything is just uniform. So make it your own and make it part of the people around you. I think, and that's where the planning comes in. And you can make it meaningful, and you can make the celebration meaningful. An important thing I wanted to say was some of the ways you can make it meaningful is to have family storytelling. You know, everyone can share their stories, and that's beautiful. That's really nice. You can have humor. You can tell some of the funny things that you've done, or they've done with you, or you've done with them, no matter what. And one important component many people don't think about is what do you have um, for the children? Some people forget about the kids, and there are things that you can do, maybe activities, little activities where you can do something with the children. Maybe planting seeds, planting some flowers or um, writing cards. I mean, just make sure that you have something for the children. People will have music, they'll have food, they'll have, um, pictures and videos. But I think sometimes why people don't want to bring children is because, well, what are they going to do? So I think that's an important thing you do is have something, no matter how small. I don't care if it's a table with crayons and some kind of pictures that they could color that would maybe represent um, spring, maybe the seasons, just so they a little bit of the circle of life. And I think it's good for them to process and for them to be acknowledged. So um, I like this. Some of the DIY funerals we're looking at, you could do direct cremation. That's like $800. You could do cremation with a service. You could have an ash scattering ceremony, memorial forest ceremony. There are memorial forests. That's pretty cool. Natural funeral and natural burial in the ground. But of course, you got to check with your local laws because a funeral director might have to be there by law. Okay, follow the dollar. And then you have celebration of life, right? So, yeah, that's pretty cool. There's a lot of different things to take in consideration. and opportunities too, to explore different ways to celebrate your loved one, your life, your experience on this earth. And another good thing about doing that is that you are showing others how to do it. One of the things that I can't remember where I learned it, but in my many readings, it said, if you are the person that are dying, or you have a diagnosis and you no longer want treatment, and you're just going to accept it and you want quality of life over quantity, one of the gifts you can give other people is to share with them a little bit of what this is like. To be dying. How do you feel? What are some of the things they're going through? Like, what's the process? Because no one has a book. No one knows. None of us living knows exactly what that's like. So the gift you can give for those that you are leaving behind is to share your experience, because then it gives them a little heads up, and it teaches people to be reflective and not think, well, we're not going to see anything. They'll be in the home, they'll be somewhere else in the facility. No, you don't want that. More and more people are having celebrations, memorial services, everything, just doing it from their homes, back the way it used to be. And the way it used to be is, I remember some of those, you could see some of those old pictures. If you go back, you can see all the family members dressed up in like old black and white pictures, and the children, everyone's dressed up. And even the person that have died, they are actually, the caskets are open, and like early, like immediately. So they don't get any of the I want to say drugs, any of the toxic chemicals, and they get the picture really quick with everyone because they want the memories. Now, as a doula, just to wrap that part of it, as a doula, your job, and I say as a family member, anyone who is accompanying someone who is dying, that's what you can bring to the table, is ideas and the space to help people plan for these things. So you can help people just organize what this when they're just visiting someone who's dying. Maybe you want to make sure when you have visitors, maybe you're going to burn a candle. Maybe you want to make sure people have a couple of minutes before they enter the room, to kind of wind down and not be thinking about the last meeting they just had, or the road rage that they just came through, because you want to leave that at the door. So sometimes it's good to have things arranged where when someone enters that space, they're present. So as a doula or a family member, you can make sure you have some systems set up just to bring in that element of presence, of witnessing. It could be when someone comes in, they take a moment before they walk in, sit in the chair, have a candle there, and just have them be quiet. Then go into the room for a visit. You could have them have something where maybe you just have some stones or pebbles or sand, something where they could maybe touch or feel to help ground them. So you want to help people to ground themselves, to be present in the moment and be a witness to this mystery. It really is a mystery. So to take it in and not run away from it. So you want to offer that mystery and presence to others. So yes, that's what a doula does. She'll help you organize your thoughts before, help you prepare, help you reflect, as well as your family members. So sometimes you need someone who's not emotionally involved, but very compassionate to what your needs are to bring everyone together. And then, I mean, you think about like why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because in the end, I know that when we encounter someone who is dying, we really walk out of that room, out of that space, feeling even more thankful of the gift that we have, which may only be in another day or another hour, another minute. Like we don't know, but the beauty of the mystery of of new life and death. This is why the doulas come in at both times, in particular, is because the gift, the mystery of life, comes in one sequence. It's like we don't eat, we drink milk, we slowly eat the foods. And that's how baby comes in and just evolves. That when we leave in the reverse order. So we're eating solid foods, then we're eating, soft foods, liquid, and then we leave the stage. So it's good to have someone there that can actually take out the emotion, but put in the meaning to make sure you don't miss out on those things. And whether that's helping to create a memory book for the family, or just helping everyone share their stories and organize them and see the beauty in them. That's what a doula is there to help to do. But thank you so much for being here. And Terry, I don't know if you're still there, but I really appreciate your time with me. And what else did I want to say in this last meeting that we have together? I just want you to feel empowered by these talks and ideas. And if you have any questions, then let me know, message me. And otherwise, don't forget to download the free worksheet here, and it'll help you. You can take it to, it's a great way to just brainstorm and help you think about writing your own, look at your own stories of your life. And really, it's not about, a lot of times it's not so much about the events, good or bad, that happen in your life. What it is usually when you take a look, you look at how those good and bad things impacted your view on life, how it changed you. During our life, we change, we shift. That's a good thing, not to be stuck in one, it's like on one channel. Don't get stuck on one channel. So those good and bad events can help us remember, gee, did I get stuck on that channel? If I did, how did I get out of it? And so that's the gift of looking at your story and looking at the big picture. So we don't want any despair. So take a look at our lives. And what we will be doing is, this is wrapped up. Next month in April, what I will be doing is I will be coming here with you the first and third Tuesday of the month. Sometimes it'll be me, and sometimes it'll be with a guest. So I do have a guest for the 16th. I'm very excited it's spring, so I'm very excited about the lovely young lady that's going to be with us on the 16th of April. I will let you know more about her, but I'll keep it as a secret right now. But it's going to be pretty creative. She's a very creative, just beautiful soul and storyteller. So she's going to give us an offering, us to do something here as a group. So I hope you'll join us for the 16th. As well as next Tuesday. That's the first Tuesday of the month. So I will see you there. I have also just got published a version of my Iron Butt escapade my motorcycle story. So I hope you will take a look at. I put it in my. I think it's posted. It's called Under. It's in a. It's a short story with other short stories, and the name of the book is it's called Clarity. So I'm very excited to have that published, and it actually will support Planned Parenthood. So it's a non what do you call it? A non no one's making money on it. Nonprofit. So I'm very it's Pathfinders Collective. So I'm very excited to be included in that book. So enjoy it. I hope you see it. And I will see you next month, and we will see what else we'll be up to. All right. Have a great spring.